Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session to help a lady I was working with lose weight. And what was evident is that in her life, there was a time in her life that she was making great choices. And at that time in her life, she had this metaphor that she used, which occasionally people do use. It's a really powerful, empowering metaphor, and that is that her body was a temple. And during this period in her life, while she was making that evaluation, that she aligned herself with her body being a temple, the choices that she was making about what food to eat and how much to eat were really good choices. So as a hypnotherapist, my job quite often is to identify a strategy that has already proven to work with the individual that I'm working with. There's no point reinventing the wheel. So if for this particular client, when she believed that her body was a temple, that empowered positive choices, well, then it makes sense to reactivate that particular belief system because it's still there at some level. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is expanding that metaphor out, getting her seeing her body as a beautiful temple, but a beautiful temple that could be damaged and that could be neglected, that could be tarnished, but that could also be improved depending on the choices that she was making. And obviously those choices, it made sense to align with food choices in her particular case. So as she was making not great choices, she was seeing the temple become, less beautiful. And as she was making great choices, then the temple improves. And that's really important because you don't want to disconnect from reality that anyone can make good or bad choices. But normally, over time, the shape of a person, with the exception of accidents and kind of unique genetic conditions, really is a reflection of choices over time. And what a lot of people do in the area of weight loss is they create this idea that they have to make either perfect choices all the time, or if they make one bad choice, then the day's ruined, and therefore they'll just start again tomorrow. And then that gives them permission to make not great choices. But the reality is, one bad choice isn't enough to ruin a day. It requires bad choices again and again. And you get this paradox where the belief that one bad choice can ruin a day actually encourages more bad choices, which actually then does ruin the day. It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. So in this particular case, you're going to hear a way of preempting those setbacks and those things that could ruin the progress. This was obviously created for a unique individual that had this belief system at a particular time in her life. Hopefully it's useful for you. But if you are interested in using hypnotherapy to lose weight, there's a couple of things you can do. One is to click the link in the show notes to book a free 30-minute consultation call with me. And the other thing is that there is also a link to downloads that I have on my website, which enable you to get lots of weight loss hypnosis audio downloads at a very cost-effective price. And there's actually 50% discount code in the link as well if you were curious to kind of have more of those kind of weight loss hypnosis kind of sessions similar to this one. For now though, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. That's it. And as they close, release the tension around your neck and your shoulders. That's it. As you breathe in, imagine breathing in a bright color that represents resourceful relaxation. Maybe it's a vibrant yellow and orange. Imagine as you breathe in that bright, vibrant color that represents that resourceful relaxation goes in through your nose, into your lungs. And imagine your heart is taking the resourceful feeling of relaxation and distributing it to every cell in your body. And as you exhale, just imagine a darker, grayer color leaving your nose as you exhale, representing the tension, stress, or anxiety that is leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice that you can scan your body for where echoes of tension exist. And sometimes it's around the eyes, sometimes the jaw, sometimes the neck. So give permission to yourself to let go. That as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, it's okay to just let that tension go. And as you do so, as your body starts to relax, it gives you the ability to go to a place where change is possible. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine you're flying to South Africa. Maybe you're on a plane. Maybe you can feel your body in the chair. And I want a thought to pop into your head. A thought about who you really are. About who you want to be, about the kind of choices you want to make. I want you to access an attitude that you've had in the past that enabled you to make choices that didn't require discipline and willpower. These choices just felt aligned. They were a reflection of you. And when you're in that place, choices like that are just second nature. I want you to imagine that you're now in South Africa, in an environment where you were making great choices. I want you to remember what you had for breakfast and recall that it was enjoyable. I want you to remember that there were certain foods that you used to eat. And when you had snacks, they were healthy snacks. And I want you to reconnect with the feeling you had back then, that this wasn't a struggle. And it wasn't a struggle because it was aligned with your intention, but also how you saw your body. I want you to get a sense that back then, there was an idea that your body was a temple. I want you to breathe in and breathe out and make a picture of a palatial temple in your mind's eye. And in one room of that palatial temple is a bedroom with what looks like the most comfortable bed you've ever seen. I want you to imagine you're now in the bedroom in this palatial temple. Put yourself on the bed, feeling your head on the pillow, feeling your body sinking into the mattress, and getting a sense of how deeply relaxed you feel. In fact, I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and with each descending number, you will feel 10% deeper and deeper relaxed. 10, focusing on the muscles around your eyelids and eyes, becoming aware of any tension around them, breathing in that bright, vibrant color of resourceful relaxation. Then on the outward breath, letting go of any tension in and around the eyes. That's right. 9, focusing on the muscles in your forehead. The same muscles that create expressions like concern and surprise. They're not needed here on this bed in your temple. Breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation and then just let go of that tension around your forehead. All the way in your scalp, all the way to the back of your head. That's it, let go of that tension. Now. 8. Focusing on the muscles in your cheek and your jaws. I want you to imagine that as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, that you can just decide to let go. Busy people with busy lives hold on to tension they don't need. And now is the time to let go of that tension. Feel it melting away. That's right. And then 7. Now focusing on the muscles in your neck and your shoulders. The bank account of stress. Except this is a bank account that you don't want to hold on to stress. So allow that stress to just melt away. Like ice cubes on a hot day. See it melting away from your neck and your shoulders. Feeling like your neck and shoulders are more loose, more relaxed. That's it. 6, the feeling of relaxation now spreads all the way down your arms to the tips of your fingers as you still imagine that you're there on a bed in a temple, a beautiful temple. As your arms, your fingers all relax, feeling limp, loose. That's it, so relaxed on that bed. 5, as you breathe in, imagine that even your internal organs are relaxing. Allow your stomach to relax. Now. Your heart to relax. Now. Your lungs relax. All the way down to your diaphragm. And as you feel that relaxation there in your diaphragm, notice that you're breathing deeper down, lower than your chest. Breathing more in and breathing more out. So you're having more of that resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, more and more of that tension is leaving your body in your outward breath. 4, now focused on your gut. The second brain, they call it. This is where intuitive choice is going to come from. But intuition can be clouded sometimes. It can be clouded from echoes of anxiety, things you were worried about but don't concern you now. So to really tap into that intuitive power to make great choices, we need to release that anxiety there in your gut. So breathe in that bright, vibrant color of resourcefulness, and this time see the color going down into your gut. Tension, anxiety melting away there. And then as you exhale, imagine seeing the color leaving your body. So you know the tension, the anxiety isn't there anymore, and you feel better. You can breathe deeper. 3, as the relaxation goes into your legs. Legs feeling heavier and heavier. That's it, all the way down. Thighs, calf muscle. 2, right into your feet, your toes. Legs feeling limp, loose, heavy. That's it, your whole body's going deeper and deeper relaxed. As 1, I want you to imagine that you could imagine falling asleep there on the bed in that temple. And in fact, see yourself on the bed fast asleep. Pick up a wrist, feel how limp and loose your arm is, and then let it go. See it flop down onto that beautiful bed in that palatial temple. And I want you to imagine now that you're walking around your temple. I want you to see perhaps marble floors, beautiful pillars. And there are places in this temple where you could meditate and relax. And I want you to get a sense that your body is a temple, something to be protected, something to be celebrated. And I want you to get a sense that as beautiful as the temple is, there are certain parts of the temple that could be improved. And I want you to imagine that you're in a place within the temple where you can see those improvements. And I want you to accept an idea that your temple, the beauty, the prestige, the impressiveness of your temple is proportionate to the choices that you make. I want you to imagine there in your temple, you're having an incredibly healthy breakfast. Perhaps poached egg and avocado. Perhaps a bowl of porridge that will give you energy throughout the whole morning. And I want you to imagine, as you feel like you're eating that delicious breakfast, those things in the temple that could be improved start to improve. Maybe if there's dust or cobwebs, they disappear. Maybe if things are damaged in certain places, they start to be repaired. I want you to imagine it's later on, perhaps lunchtime, and now in a room in this palace, I want you to imagine there is a whole different selection of choices that you could make, healthy and unhealthy, reasonable portions or large portions. And just say to yourself, my body is a temple. And as you make the right choices, say to yourself, this is me. And notice what's on your plate. And notice that the enjoyment is increased as you realize it's no longer just about the food, but a vehicle for becoming who you're capable of becoming. It feels aligned to make these kind of choices. Perhaps there you are having a salad, maybe some delicious vegetables, maybe some lean protein. And as you eat that food, again, imagine the temple being even more beautiful. Maybe it's the garden outside that suddenly looks manicured and landscaped, beautiful beyond belief, linked to the choices that you're making. I want you to accept that sometimes hunger isn't hunger at all. Sometimes what feels like hunger is you escaping the withdrawals of the previous habits that you indulged in. And therefore, when you feel that way, it's an opportunity to break free of the shackles of what's been keeping you in a way that you didn't want to be. I want you to imagine it's later on in the day, perhaps 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can feel that you want to eat something. I want you to imagine that somewhere in the temple, perhaps there's a cupboard that looks familiar. And I want you to see a cupboard full of unhealthy snacks, chocolates, crisps. And as you start eating them, I want you to imagine there is perhaps 5 or 10 troublesome monkeys that raid the temple, starting to cause damage to the temple, defecating in the temple. And then I want you to imagine that you immediately stop eating whatever you're eating, put them back, and then perhaps choose some kind of healthy snack, piece of fruit, a selection of nuts, and then immediately those chaotic monkeys disappear. As you imagine day after day of making better choices, whatever damage has been caused to the temple starts to improve. And I want you to get a sense of immense pride at making these choices. These are choices that you're choosing to make because of how it makes you feel. And it makes you feel like you're protecting and improving your temple. And therefore, willpower and discipline are good to start this journey. But to maintain the journey, you want to connect with a sense of accomplishment, satisfaction, and pride at being the person that you want to be, that you truly are, that when you look at yourself in the mirror, healthy, slim, you can say to yourself, this is me. My body is a temple. And in the body, there's always a lag time. I want you to imagine that the temple that you see around you may take a few weeks to be a true representation of your body. But this is the blueprint, the architectural drawing of what you want your body to be like. I want you to get a sense that the more beautiful this temple is in your mind, the more motivated you will be to make effortless choices to align the outside world with your inner world. I want you to imagine somewhere in this temple is a place to meditate, and I want you to go to that place and start meditating about your future. And I want you to imagine your life over the next few days and weeks, thinking of the immediate differences you can make to your choices. See yourself like you're someone else making those choices. See yourself preparing the ideal breakfast you want to prepare. See yourself in the environment that is recognizable to you, making those healthy choices for lunch, but seeing a smile on your face as you make those choices and seeing the satisfaction when you finished eating, knowing that you could have made other choices, but you didn't. And in so many other areas of your life, the default is to make great choices. In life, in work, being discerning is rewarded. But as it is here with food, the more discerning your choices, the more healthy, energetic, and the more your body starts to shift and evolve to become exactly the version of you that you want. See yourself snacking on healthy snacks, but only if you're hungry. And see yourself enjoying an evening meal with no desire whatsoever to snack afterwards. And then see yourself. See this happening again and again. Days turn to weeks, weeks turn into months, and see how your body changes. And what you lose in weight, you gain in self-esteem and confidence. People start to notice there's a spring in your step, a sparkle in your eyes. They're seeing a different side of you, and then imagine going forward into the future to where you're in a new environment where people only know you as this person. They only know this version of you that just does that, and they'll assume you've done this for your whole life. And see how easy it is to maintain that once you've been doing it for long enough. I want you to imagine a heavy boulder on top of a mountain, that when it's stationary, nothing changes. But when it starts rolling down the mountain, almost nothing can stop it. The discipline and the willpower is not necessary 3 or 4 weeks from now. It's only necessary at the beginning. And where willpower and discipline is most needed isn't at the beginning of the day. It's in the middle of the day or the end of the day where you feel that you've gone off track. And I want you to see that version of you just in your mind's eye. Not doing perhaps what you've done in the past where you think that the day's a write-off anyway. I want you to see that version of you taking great pride and satisfaction at being able to stop something that's useful, to contain it, and then to make a healthier choice as the next choice. When you're driving down a motorway, if you start to slightly leave your lane, you just take a tiny movement to get back in your lane. You don't leave your lane and then think, well, I'm out of my lane anyway, so I may as well crash in the side of the road. Micro movements get you to the destination. If your unconscious mind is willing to accept that your body is a temple, but more importantly, you have the resources to make choices that align with your body being a temple, just let me know by nodding your head. I want you to think of the things that could scupper this approach. And then while you're meditating in that room, in the temple, imagine all those things that could take you off track, and then see a version of you either preempting them or getting back on track. Maybe it's a glass of wine in the evening. Maybe it's eating one chocolate. And then see yourself, even if you have one chocolate, deciding not to have any more and making a different choice afterwards. You see yourself eating crisps. See yourself stopping before you finish the pack, perhaps throwing them away or putting them back in a cupboard, and perhaps seeing yourself drink a glass of water instead. There is no failure here, only feedback. You either make the right choices and you make progress, or you make the wrong choices and you learn from them to make better choices the very next time. I want you to walk around the temple and I want you to see a leak. Water is coming in. And I want you to evaluate that leak there in the roof of your temple is a small issue. And you can either fix that small issue, or you could say, because there's a tiny leak in my temple, I'm not going to care about any of the temple at all. And intuitively you know that it's easier to deal with a small issue, because then that prevents bigger issues. And so is the case with your body. From this point forward, small issues will only become bigger issues if you allow them to be. If your mind is willing to accept that suggestion, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to return to the place of meditation. Walk up out of that place. Walk back to the bedroom in this temple. No sign of monkeys. No sign of damage anymore. As you're aligned to the idea that this temple is a place of manifestation. That your body is this temple, proportionate to the choices you're making. Return to the bedroom and then see there's a version of you fast asleep on that bed all this time. I want you to climb into their body, but take all these changes with them. Reactivate an attitude and an intention that you've had in the past and you can have again now. And then realize that all of this are just ideas within ideas, dreams within dreams, thoughts within thoughts. And now return to the present. But keep the idea that your body is a temple, as long as you're making choices that align with your body being a temple. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're in your own physical body right now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling alert, optimistic, accepting that your body is a temple, and activating all the resources to make that true. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.